Hello and welcome to all our viewers. Today we have a very special guest on our show. She is young, she's energetic, she's focused, and she is someone, no matter whatever you throw at her, she throws faster, she throws harder. Yes, we are talking about the very focused and the very talented pace bowler from West Bengal. Here we are. Welcome to our show, Titas Sadhu. Thank you so much, Titas, for joining our show and taking out some time to talk about your life and sharing your views with us. So first things first, let's clear out the formalities. How are you keeping, Titash?
I'm very well, thank you. And also thank you for having me.
Welcome. And Titash, before any further ado, let's just start off with this interview with you. You are such a bright and exciting prospect from West Bengal, a pace bowler from West Bengal. It's so nice to have you on our show. So, there were so many sports to pick from, but how did cricket happen to you? Because, there is a very interesting story about it, about you becoming a cricketer, which is floating around. But I'm more than sure and confident that our audience would like to know the real story from the person who's sitting here with us today.
But first, I'm really intrigued. What is this story which has been floating around?
Well, that's exactly what our audience wants to know from you. It's just that we get to hear many abbreviated or very edition stories, but how about learning from you? How did just cricket just happen to you?
So I feel, so yes, I had played many sports before cricket. And to be very honest, I wasn't someone who was very attracted to it either. But I think once you start playing and you start becoming decent at it, just like education, when you start getting good marks, you like studying more than what you used to. So it's the same thing. Once you start performing, you will start liking it better. So I think that is how it happened.
Okay, I like this comparison very nicely. You just put it, you connected with education. Like when you start studying, when you start getting good marks, then suddenly you take interest on that subject. Otherwise, that subject is so boring. I like this connection, how you put it.
It's very difficult for a kid to like something just for the sake of knowing, right? Like you can't tell a kid that please study to gain knowledge because they won't be able to see that what that knowledge actually holds. But obviously it is easier for them to get those achievements, like yes, I'm getting good marks, I'm competing.
Very good. And you decided you want to be a cricketer. You go to your family, you tell them. What did they have to say about it?
So I think it wasn't such much of a decision really, because once I started playing cricket and once I started playing it with a purpose in mind, things started just happening on its own. So I started training to become a professional cricketer around the age of 15. I debuted when I was 16. And then things just started happening, especially with the Under-19 World Cup coming up. Actually, there was no exact point where we decided, okay, now let's pursue cricket as a career.
Okay.
But rather it was one thing after the other, and you just know that this is what is happening and you keep on doing it.
Okay. So, Titash, you talk about, just now stated that you started training since you were 15, then you debuted very quickly. So, let's get back to the basics, as is very common with sports persons. Everybody's intrigued to know how do they, take their first step. And to take that first step, the most important thing, one of the very important things is to have a coach, is to have a teacher. So in your case, was it your father who was your first coach, or who was the first person who said, okay, hold my finger, I'll guide you from here?
So I think one of the best parts that I learned quite quickly was that no one told me that I'll hold your finger and I'll take you through.
Oh, okay.
Rather, they showed me a path on which I had to work on.
So, that's a very important point.
Yeah, and I feel now that it was very systematic for me. And it was set very well, especially by my dad and my coach, both of them. It was set very systematically.
Okay.
So what for me, it was very like the work for me had become very easy. It was work hard, do what you're doing every day, and you will get there.
Okay. So work hard and keep going. So how was your formative years when you were growing and cricket was happening to you? Take us through that journey.
So I think there were two critical moments. One was initially when I had started, because I had started to play for fun.
Okay.
It was I never thought in my mind that it will become a career for me. So after I completed my 10th, there was lockdown, so there was a break in academics. So we started training really well. Not with the fact that you will make cricket a career, but with the fact that you want to be fitter and you want to stay healthier. And from then on, cricket became an important part. And that's why I got setbacks in my academics, because when you play cricket, especially in India, you don't have the time. It's not about you don't get the time to study, but obviously you don't get time to give exams.
True.
It's hard. And I was decent at academics as well. It's quite decent. So that was one of the core decisions that we had made. And we had given ourselves a time limit that in this much time, I tried to achieve this many things. And if I see that I have the quality to become a good cricketer, then we will continue. Otherwise, we'll fall back on academics. I think that was an important point. And I think later on, another important turn was the fact when I understood that performing is not the only thing in sports. Obviously, you have to perform. But failing and coming back up and trying and working hard, all those things have their rewards too.
Very true. You put it very nicely here. You talk about, I just love this matured attitude that you have at such a young age. I think this is the reason why at such a tender age, you have already come into the notice of people. And this is a very important point that you make. And I'm sure our viewers will also agree to it, that it's not important to just play. It is important that you continue your intensity, you continue with your consistency. It's a very important point that you make here, Titas. So let's talk about life after becoming a cricketer right now. So okay, cricket has happened to you, you're training, but then now you have to, let's just say, make a choice, or you have to choose that okay, there are so many options. I want to be a batter, I want to be a spinner, I want to be a pacer. How did you decide that, okay, I want to keep my focus towards pace bowling?
Again, it wasn't a decision that I had made. So it is something I started doing. I think every child is taught how to bowl pace at the beginning. And much like that, I was taught how to bowl. And there was no decision to make after that.
And Titash, I'll just ask you a little sensitive question here, maybe, because see, as a female, any line we go into, it's not devoid of struggles. You would definitely agree, especially with people like you, who want to do something out of the box. So from that point of view, from that perspective, we would like to know, are there any such type of struggles that you perhaps had to face when you were, preparing yourself to become a professional cricketer?
Actually, I would say I am very blessed and grateful that I didn't have to go through such struggles, really. And even if I had, I never thought them as struggles. It never felt so. Because one, I played a lot of cricket with guys, and guys my age, but it never felt like a struggle, because all of those guys were my very good friends, and they are still my very good friends to this day. Because even if I felt that I was different from them, they never felt that I was different. Because there had been days where I had felt that how am I supposed to match up to them? And I physically am weaker than them and I'm a girl. But they never thought that. And it wasn't that they were not showing it to me, they just genuinely never felt that. And that gives you a load of confidence.
Okay, so now let's move on to talk about that inaugural Under-19 Women's World Cup that was played just exactly a year ago, last year. A very, very important tournament. Let's just say a very important breakthrough in women's cricket worldwide, and of course a very important landmark for our Indian cricket as well, for you girls who just outshone so brightly out there. So let's just start from the beginning. When initially the tournament was announced, because we've had Under-19 Men's World Cup from a very long time, okay, right from the 20th century we've had that, but suddenly to have an Under-19 World Cup for women, okay, it's late, but you can always start anytime. It's never too late to start anything. When the tournament was initially announced, and all girls of your age, younger to you, got to know that such a tournament is coming up for all you young girls and you have this opportunity to play in there, how was your reaction? I'm not talking about getting selected or ultimately playing, but just to know that okay, such a tournament is happening.
Well, I think we're already in the thick of things by then. We were doing ZCM matches and there was this tingling feeling in every one of us that something is happening, because otherwise there was too much anticipation in it. And then finally when it was announced, we were already playing ZCM matches and we were already competing, and that competition within us was amazing. The girls, the world got to see. It was 15 girls who had gone there, the 18 girls who had gone there. But the competition before that, it was tiresome, to be very honest, because everyone was so talented and so exceptional, and everyone showcased their talents really, really well. It was a very fun year before the World Cup, because we had a lot of games. We played in different teams, 4 different teams, competed against each other, played amongst ourselves. It was amazing. We played a lot of good cricket before that.
Titash, from this answer, this brings me to my follow-up question. You talk about a very tough competition before such a marquee tournament. So at this very crucial point, how do you know? Because see, you make a very good point that you have your friends, all your teammates are such good friends, and you've had a wonderful time. You're playing games, you're spending quality time together. Then suddenly such a marquee tournament comes up, and let's face it, let's be very practical. Whenever such tournaments come up, always we have to we to some extent look after or have to look at our personal growth as well. So at that time, how do you keep your mindset that you have to balance your friendship, but you also along with it have to balance your professionalism?
I believe it all boils down to the fact that you actually compete with your teammates more than the opponent. It's about being the best performer end of the day. And I think the very fact that we won the tournament was because in all of us, it was very inbuilt that I have to be the one who wins us this game. And it was never selfish. The very important point in this was that we wanted to perform. But we wanted to perform not for ourselves, but we wanted to perform to win. I'll perform so we win. But I have to perform in order for that to happen. And I think we also got a very good faculty who made us understand this and to rather ingrain that in us, that this is how it has to be. You have to perform.
Very true. And how was your family's reaction when they got to know Titas Sadhu's name has been included in the squad to play the inaugural World Cup in South Africa?
Actually, my parents are more confident than I am. Whenever there's a big tournament coming up, even if I'm not performing before it, they know somehow or the other I'll manage. So
That's good.
they have been more confident than I am. Whatever selection I've been through, they have been more confident than me.
Titas, you just talked about, the fact that all of you had this in you that I have to perform, not just for us, but for everybody, but for the country, but for the team. And let's talk about that final, 29 January, when that final was played against England before the commencement. I think that final was everything Titas Sadhu. But, before the match commenced, how was the dressing room environment?
It was jolly, really. Like, everyone was in for the kill. Like, we wanted to win and we wanted to win bad. And I don't think there was even a single member of a team, the support staff included, who even thought for a single moment that we could lose that match.
And when the final was happening, okay, now the ball is rolling, there's no looking back, you're in the course. Even at that time also, because at least me or people like us who were viewers back home, when we were watching you girls play, there was a lot of positive vibe that at least we could make out that, okay, the girls that we have sent, whether they are winning or losing, that's immaterial, but at least there is a lot of positive energy that's coming out from them. But you as a player, when you were in the field, when that final was happening, what was the talk there at that time, when you were perhaps during the course of changing overs, when you were probably having to huddle, or maybe Shefali, your captain, was having to tell you something? Even at that point also, was it that just go on with the flow?
I think that final, we made very little mistakes, and there was not a single moment where we had given the game to them. We never let go of the reins of the game from the very first over. Even if there were some little setbacks, some little falls here and there, in the whole picture, we never let the game out of our hands. We were very confident. And there was a certain point in the game where we knew, it was very evident, we have already won.
Pretty much so. And let's talk about you, because Titash, I'll have to admit this, as viewers, you were just something very different from your teammates in that final. And of course, to all our viewers who perhaps either don't know or have missed out, Titash had excellent bowling figures in that final, which was played against England. She picked up 2 very crucial wickets, but why was she the player of the match? Because of her outstanding economy, giving away just 6 runs in her 4 overs quota at 1.50. Titash, first thing, what were you thinking every time you were handed the ball? And second, eventually, when it was declared Titas Sadhu player of the match in the final, emotions?
So I feel I never went out there to play for myself, or nor did I think that I'll pick up wickets or I'll get the player of the match. Obviously, in the back of your mind, you want that. You want to be the best performer. But I think that day in the finals, everyone was very selfless. We just wanted to win, and whatever it takes. And I think I was that I wanted to bowl well. I wanted them not to score at all. I guess that was the driving force for all of us. Even Parshvi had bowled really well. Archana had taken an exceptional catch. Even Trisha had taken an exceptional catch. Like, everyone went that extra mile. Just because we wanted to win. No questions asked.
And eventually, just wanted to win, and eventually you did win. That winning runs, and then just, pouncing onto the field, running here and there, and then ultimately getting to grab hold to that beautiful trophy. How was the atmosphere after that into the dressing room? That you have two emotions, right? Before getting into the final, that one environment in the dressing room, and after you win, you come back, and then how do you let it sink in that we are the world champions of an inaugural tournament?
One, it was like when we won, it was very hard to accept that it is finally over. Because the World Cup might have been a month long, if that. But for us, that preparation, the competition, the getting into the team, the selecting process, it was almost 7 to 8 months for us. And it was gruesome. And we were tired. We had played a lot of cricket. And for that too, and think the fact that we had like one goal for 8 months and suddenly you have achieved it. So I think it came in stages. First, we couldn't accept the fact we have already won. Second, we couldn't accept the fact that it's over. It's done. There is no tomorrow. Like, there is no under-19 World Cup coming up now. And I think then there was another hollowness that the goal we had set for almost a year is achieved. The next day that you go practice, you don't have anything to look forward to. I remember me and our vice captain Shweta, we were roommates, and we sat together and we were thinking, now what? What is the next goal? What to do next? And then obviously there's a lot of things you have to do next. It's all about getting that perspective and like, okay, WPL is coming up. That is our next immediate goal, and just getting something, because it is very hard to be without purpose. So I think that was it. Like, but it was one of the best experiences of my life. I mean, I'm still getting goosebumps talking about it.
We are getting goosebumps hearing about it because, as fans, Titash, I can assure you, this drought that our women's cricket team, they always, very well that they make it to the ICC events, to the knockouts. Just that one step is still remaining, very close, so close yet so far. But then suddenly, you girls go there in an inaugural ICC tournament. You ultimately ensure to take that final step, ultimately grab hold of the trophy, end the ICC drought saga of women's cricket in India. And suddenly, you make sure you force people to start noticing that women's cricket is not just a thing, but it's a huge issue, and an issue which needs and deserves recognition. So many congratulations to you and your entire team, your management, who not just, I wouldn't say failed, but justified each and every fan support that we all gave you from back home in India. So thank you so much for that, and just keep on moving on from here. You raised the topic of the WPL, another very important and marquee tournament, one after the other. The ICC Under-19 World Cup happened, and then finally the WPL, after a lot of rantings, a lot of discussions, a lot of hula baloos from the fans, from the cricketers, finally the WPL happens, the auction happens, you become a very hot pick, you get picked by Delhi Capitals. I would like to ask you, it's a range of questions here. Firstly, again, when the WPL was announced, you realized that there's a men's IPL, now there will be a women's WPL as well. How was your reaction to it? And when that DC banner went up, Titas Sadhu belongs to DC.
I think everyone knew that this is going to happen one day or the other. And I think we were like, my generation and my batch, we were very grateful. Like, we were blessed really, because we got the under-19 and we got that exposure, international exposure, and then just after that we get a tournament like WPL, which is like in quick succession. And because like we were riding hot and heavy from the under-19, and we are getting recognition, and people are seeing us, people know us. And just then the WPL auction comes in and I get selected and I get picked by DC. And I mean, it was very fortunate for us that it fell into places. And if you see later on in my career, throughout that year, that DC camp and being there, learning so much there, I changed a lot after WPL. I became different and I changed and I matured, I guess, like throughout that tournament. I think that helped me a lot, like very individually as well. It has helped me a lot, and let alone talk about what it has done for women's cricket.
Definitely. Now, let's talk about your journey into DC. You did get picked up, but unfortunately, we didn't get to see you donning the DC jersey onto the field throughout the season, even in the final. From your point of view, personally, are there any regrets that you got selected but ultimately never got to don the jersey on the field?
It was frustrating, yes, but I don't regret it. Because obviously it is frustrating when you are in a team and you don't get to play for 10 consecutive matches, 9 consecutive matches. It's hard. But I feel, so I had this conversation with Wayne. He was our SNC coach then. It's about, if you see in men's IPL, they have a squad of 25 players.
Yeah.
And stalwarts like Ingidi and stuff, they sit for 2.5 months.
Yeah. True.
And actually WPL is one of the places, or any franchisee is one of the places where you can learn, and you can learn a lot, because you're with international coaches with different perspective about the game. You have different international cricketers with different strategies about the game, different way of life, different cultures, and you're all together playing in the same team, in the same dugout. You learn a lot. Just by seeing, just by watching the games also, you learn a lot. So I felt that is something that helped me later on. Even though at that moment I didn't understand the worth of it, but in time I did.
Very true. And okay, you didn't get a game, but you definitely got the opportunity to share the dressing room with the world-class legends. Your skipper, Meg Lanning, then there's South Africa's Marizanne Kapp, Australia's Jess Jonathan. So, any special advice you got from them personally, or did you get to talk with them, or during the training sessions, anything special you noticed in them?
I think the most important part here is to understand that they're human. Like, we keep on watching them on TV and we see them performing amazingly. So to understand the fact they're actually human and they're people like us, that gives you a sense of understanding that you can become that. It's not impossible. They are not alien. I think that is one of the most important realizations that I got into.
Definitely. And again, it's 2024. The WPL starts in just a few weeks' time. Are you looking forward to it, and are you confident that at least this season you will get a game for DC?
I mean, obviously I want to play, but one thing I'm confident in is that I will learn much more, and I'll learn a lot this year as well.
Definitely. Now, fast forward to again in a few months' time, you again got to play another important tournament, was the Emerging Asia Cup. And, without a shadow of a doubt, hands down, India were the hot favorites to win the tournament, which you eventually did in a very handsome fashion. And so, I have just one question to ask. You were fresh from winning that inaugural Under 19 World Cup. Then you played the WPL, so you had a lot of quality practice. So how was the talk in the camp to just carry on with this winning momentum? And was there any pressure on you that, okay, we are the hot favorites, you have the winner's tag on you? So was there any pressure that you faced?
I think Personally, in my mind, I never had the doubt that we can lose. One. And I think with underage groups, the best part is the enjoyment you have. You're having fun. You have a lot of fun. Because it's all about enjoying with each other. You get into the ground, enjoy each other's presence, give your best. It's always do or die in junior level cricket. It's like give it your all. Whatever you can do, just show it off.
Definitely, and you did show it all, because eventually you won the Emerging Asia Cup as well, and then in a few months' time again you had the Asian Games in Hangzhou, and again India were the hot favorites, and you eventually again ended up winning the coveted gold medal. And Titas, you were the standout performer in that final against Sri Lanka. Best figures of 3 for 6. So I just have one question. Do you personally love playing finals? You have this very interesting love story with the finals, that okay, group stage apni taraf, I go to the finals is me, finals is Titas Sadhu.
I have never thought about it like that. I mean, I always think I don't know, I have never thought about it actually, that it's finals, so you have to perform. I think you have more stake because it's finals and you have to win. And probably you have a little more responsibility. Yeah. But otherwise it's a match and you have to perform. I'm just lucky that
I'm just loving your attitude here. It's just a match, but always the standout performer, especially in the finals, especially when it matters the most. This is what
I think I get lucky. I think I get lucky in the
That's a very big way and very modest way of brushing off your otherwise very talented persona, Titas. Please do preserve this attitude that you have in you. Now let's talk about your Indian camp. You finally getting to share the senior dressing room with legends. So how is Captain Harmanpreet Kaur?
She's very nice.
That's a very diplomatic way of saying things, Titas.
She's a little scary at times, but she's actually genuinely very nice.
Okay, and your personal feelings on getting to share the dressing room with legends right now, modern day legends like Smriti Mandana, Deepti Sharma. How do you feel?
Yeah, so one good thing is thanks to DC, I already got that hang of it to be playing around with people who are greats of their time. But I guess Jemmy had been with NDC, Deepti I play with in Bengal, so I knew some of them. Shifali I had played in under 19s, and again I had played with Richa. I have played a lot with Richa.
Yes.
So at least I knew some people in the team. So that was okay. WPL experience was way worse because I didn't know anyone.
Okay. Yeah. And who's the prankster? Who's that naughty prankster in the room? You're doing something serious, she just comes and pinches you. You're drinking water, just topples the bottle on you and runs away. Who's the Jerry in the team?
I think there are many now. A lot of them. There's Shriyanka and there's Kanika.
What about you?
Too many.
You're serious?
I have my patches, I guess.
That's a nice way of putting it. Okay, coming to the serious part, Titas, you recently, you made your debut for India, having played against Bangladesh for starters. So how was the feeling of playing your first match for the country?
I was really excited. I remember I wasn't very sure if I was going to play that match or not. Once in the ground, I was told that I'm playing the match. And then later on, out of warm-up, Smithley had told me that you are going to bowl the second over. I remember I was so excited, I didn't want the national anthem to happen. I just wanted to start playing.
Okay.
And I kept counting. Pooja Vastrakkar was bowling the first over and I kept counting the number of balls she has bowled. Because I couldn't wait for her to finish.
Okay, that's so sweet. Okay. About the recent series against Australia, Titash, you registered your best bowling figures of 4 for 17. So how did it feel like playing against the mighty Aussies? The Aussie juggernaut is world famous, and you bowling against them so well. And of course, during the series or after that, did you get the opportunity to interact with any of the Aussie stars?
Not really. I didn't get the chance to talk to them. But I guess that performance was very needed because I was in a rut. I couldn't perform for the last couple of games, and then I was sitting out for a long time. To come in, it was. I think that was more important. Let go of who I was playing. I really didn't think about it, who I'm bowling to. I didn't care a lot. I just wanted to perform, and I wanted to bowl well.
And so you did. You were very impressive to watch. And Titash, the final question of this interview. Until now, you are still very young, and a lot of cricketing years still are ahead of you. And we know you will fly. You will fly with flying colors. You will just go through. But until now, whatever limited time, limited years of cricket that you've played, how will you like to sum up your journey from your debut till now? You have played major tournaments. You have performed majorly when it mattered the most. How will you sum up your journey until now, and how do you look into the future?
I mean, the journey you're talking about is very short. Like,
Definitely.
it's only been a couple years, really. And in the international cricket, not even that. But I think it was really, I'm grateful for all the opportunities I've gotten. And I'm also grateful for the fact that I was able to deliver on those such occasions. And I think the most important part I have realized is that you stay humble and you stay a very good human being at heart and you keep working hard.
Definitely. You keep working hard and you never lose focus. So thank you so much, Titash, for, taking out time from your busy schedule and, spending it with us to share your interesting things about all limited but very interesting life journey until now. And to all our viewers out there, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Like a true ecstatic cricket fan, CricXtasy is your channel. You were hearing Titas Sadhu, and we will be back with such interviews and stories the next time I, your host Damini Basu, will bring out to you. And do not forget to use the comment section to tell us how did you feel hearing out this very talented young cricketer sitting here. Titash, we wish you all the very best for your future. Keep rising, keep shining, and do take care of yourself. And to our viewers, like and share this video as much as possible and take care of yourselves. It's goodbye.
Thank you.